Okay, the first thing that I want to show you is this image. The artist did an amazing job. And you obviously have the contrast here between the gateway to heaven, and then you have the depths of kind of purgatory in here, and then going even denser into fiery realms. And what's interesting about this image that I thought was such an interesting point about the people who miraculously jump up in consciousness. Do you see here that at these fiery levels down here, there's no way to get up to this bridge upon that you'd have to walk, right? You start walking on the stairs to begin to approach the gates of heaven from hell and then purgatory. So there's no visible path up, is there? It's a miraculous jump up to go from the denser levels up to the higher levels. It's something that is achieved by the divine within us. And it could be because of our free will choice to make a significant change in our lives. It could be by divine grace. It could be that the Creator just lifts us up and places us there. But for whatever reason that this happens, there's an element of essentially grace that lifts us out of the darkness and puts us on this path to igniting our connection with heaven, with the divine. That is our birthright. That is ultimately our birthright, however long it takes us to get there. If we choose, but I believe everyone returns home. So now I'm going to show you something else. What I did was I took a slice of this image. It's just amazing. Watch this. Okay, now here is the drawing that I like to use to represent the human energy field. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is the soul connection. This would be the individual human, who I don't have an image of yet. The body would be here, and here's the energy field that emits in a sphere around the physical body. This is the soul light shining, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I am going to put, this will be the example, here's the body, here's the head, and there's the soul light emanating from the heart. I'm not going to draw the rest of the body right now, but you can imagine there's arms, right, legs. We can use the sunbeam to think of those. Now, here is the slice of the drawing. This is what I want to show you. That, here, let me put the rest of this here. Okay, so this is how the gateways work in my mind, and how our choices from the human energy field function, what it looks like in a way, what the energy could look like in our field. It's a metaphor for that. The gateway to heaven, one could say that is equivalent with the door of the open door of the heart that allows us to connect with the portal of the soul within the human heart. And that this stretch of energy here represents the range of choices that we can make as an individual human. So we can live kind of at the edge of our field here. So I could have my awareness at the edge of my field here. So there's my mind, my awareness is here. Okay. And then it feels like purgatory, right? It feels like separated from the true self. I could put my awareness here. And then I feel more like I could be in touch with my true self. Maybe sometimes I feel the energy coming through this gate. Okay. Ultimately, I could live making the choice to walk through the gate. Okay. To walk through the gate, experience a spiritual transformation in doing so, and live from my center as an energetic, soul-connected being, embodying the truth of who I am and the fullness of my own soul in my body and my energy field. Okay? So this is the range of choices and what the energy would look like, right? So what I'm saying is people talk about experiencing hell on earth, okay? In general, when this is happening, they may be making a conscious choice to extend themselves so far away from the light of their true being and their true nature that they're basically kind of flexing and warping their field to live at the very edge here in hell on earth, okay? And you can imagine what that would be like. Now, I'm not talking about surprises or accidents or tornadoes or, these various things happen. What I'm talking about right now, the context of this discussion, is conscious and unconscious choices in the way we live our lives, not the external factors that may also be occurring, okay? But that given the external factors, these are the choices that we make, right? In general. So that's really interesting, isn't it? Doesn't this look like an I? Okay. So, and even the person inside looks like an I, the letter I for individual. So there's an aspect here of reclaiming our symbols because it is stated the eye is the window to the soul. Okay. And which part of the eye do you think is the window to the soul? The very center. Which in this video represents the place of heart connection with the soul. Now, when a person is choosing to live, okay, now if this person is choosing to live here, they're really only going to want to relate with other people who live there. And why is that? If you're here, right, in so far away from a fully connected spiritual experience, if someone is living at this sort of level of energy, see the gap? There's not really a way to connect, or there's probably not even a desire to connect. It's like living in two different worlds, right? It's like living at this part of reality versus this kind of expanded version of reality, where there's a significant experience in the higher hertz as well, in the spiritually connected hertz. So the other thing about when people are making the decision to live out here, okay, really kind of warped, their field is warped now, right? Because they're going so far from the center. What happens is, somewhere out here, what happens is that the person will usually have a layer of energy that is very thick over the heart. And usually they won't be able to feel their connection with the divine, their own light. That's why I also covered over the gateway to heaven. They usually won't be able to even be aware of, how do I even find that? Okay, but you see, it's there. Okay, these things are there. They're just covered over. They're covered over by, it could be a combination of things. It could be results of choices, but it could also be trauma from growing up, from certain incidences that have happened. And the fact is a person may not be choosing choices in the realm of chaos to feel like they're out here. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the other aspect, that it could be life circumstances that have happened that threw them out of their field, their center, and they just feel like so outside themselves. Okay, so and disconnected. So a person in this state may not even be able to feel positive emotions or love. So there is hope and recovery. You can fully recover from this state. But what I want to say is that if you are observing people who are making choices in groups that you cannot understand, right? It doesn't align with facts that you may have researched. It just makes no sense to you. And they're just making statements that they're choosing to believe and aligning on these. What you are then looking at is people living out here. Okay? And see, they're connecting here. This way of living, the mentality that goes with it, because it's not really as deeply emotional, right? Because there's not the ability to deeply connect. It becomes almost like a religion. It's in place of a religion. It's in place of an emotional connection, because this person is so far outside of the field, their own field and their own ability to connect with the truth of who they are, that all they really feel comfortable doing is connecting with people of literally like mind. The mind does not have to make sense. As long as they're making statements or using words that fit with whatever has made them comfortable. And a lot of cases, this is just going to be like propaganda type information, right? Where there's not a lot of depth to it. It's just going to be cult-like statements, actually cult-like behavior. And so that's why there's an appeal to that way of living, because it's the way that this person living way the heck out here in their field, you can't see it like this. You might be able to sense it about a person or recognize the behavior, right? Because it may appear a certain way to you. So anyway, I really wanted to explain this to you because it matches so well with both the experience of the gateways that we've had and the experience of people kind of cracking open, and this throat chakra, just suddenly light comes to it and someone's just like they're finally speaking, okay, or they're finally becoming aware. And in doing so, maybe this aspect became uncovered for them. Maybe they had a heart opening, and this is what, in a way, I say miraculously, allowed the person to up-level, right, to where they could sense the light within. Many people may have made this up-level, and they may have made it not just in the human body, but on the astral plane as they passed, as they were about to transition to the higher realms. Somehow, okay? I don't know. I wanted to share this with you because I thought that this was so cool, and that these concepts, this concept of explaining the energy field, I've been working on it for a while, and it just seemed like the perfect moment to share it with you. And so thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Bless you, and remember the light that you are. Whew. The human resonance. It's all